Let's now go to Washington for the latest on the House Democrats' attempt to quickly remove President Trump from office. Republicans blocked House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer from fast-tracking a resolution that would urge Pence and Trump's cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment. So what's next? Bloomberg White House correspondent Josh Wingrove joins us now. Josh, great to have you on the show. What is the next step when it comes to trying to get Trump out of office?
Well, it's a little unclear. I suppose it depends on your faith that he would either resign voluntarily or that Mike Pence wants to do anything. There's no indication that either of those are on the table. In fact, there's indications that Pence has maybe ruled out doing it. The 25th Amendment is more complicated than I think people are making it seem. So that leaves impeachment, and the method that it would go through remains unclear. If it went right over to the Senate, it could start a trial right away. That could potentially run onto and through inauguration, which of course would get messy. President Trump's legal team is unclear. We think it will not include Pat Cipollone, the White House counsel, because of course he will no longer be the White House counsel as of mid next week when Biden takes over. So just a lot of moving pieces on this one. But right now, the bottom line is the impeachment wheels are moving forward. How far forward and how quickly remain unclear. But it does not look like Trump will leave office before the 20th.
Where does the vice president come into this, Josh? What does your reporting tell you about what the vice president and the president are saying, if anything, to one another?
There's no indication that they've spoken since Wednesday. Of course,
wow.
the mob of Wednesday. Now that it remains a little unclear, but if true, that means obviously that there's a pretty unprecedented rift between Trump and Pence. Pence, of course, has been Trump's most loyal sort of ally. They have lunch together regularly. They speak almost every day. So this is just, a sign of the rift there. There are implications of that around, like, managing the pandemic, for instance, which is Pence's job, ostensibly, which Trump, I guess, is now not involved in. But, there, on the flip side, there's not a lot of indication that Pence wants to get into some messy struggle with the 25th Amendment. It would require cabinet. He's had a couple people quit cabinet already. It's a little unclear who they would be in terms of who would get a vote, and Trump could fight it. And then you have this situation where people are dueling over who is the president. John Bolton, the former national security advisor to Trump, is a staunch Trump critic and says, all the problems that he has with Donald Trump, he thinks would actually be worse to go down this route because it would just sow so much more chaos.
What have we heard most recently from the President-elect Joe Biden, when it comes to Trump being out of office, whether that has to do with the 25th Amendment or impeachment?
He sort of tried to pump the brakes a little bit. He has not been leading the parade on impeachment. Biden's whole MO on this and other things has been to try to take the temperature down a little bit. He announced today that his inauguration will have a theme of unity and that he will go with Barack Obama, George Bush, and Bill Clinton after the swearing in to Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath. This is sort of trying to be a show of unity. Of course, notably absent from that is Donald Trump. We don't know what Donald Trump's plans are for the 20th. There's been various reports that he's toying with some sort of counter-programming, but it was a weird weekend for Trump. Normally, his weekends are filled with tweets and golf. Given the weather and given the bans, he sat at the White House with no events, no golf, no tweets. Unusual.
Yeah, and probably a more relaxing weekend than usual, maybe, for White House reporters who cover the president. Speaking of the ban and the lack of golf, Josh, what's it like, the mood like at the White House right now, given this final 9 days of the president's tenure?
It's a good question. The work of the White House is grinding slowly. Trump has seen many people quit. It's not clear who's going into the office. He already had a fairly small circle of people he trusts and talked to. That circle is shrinking. It's down to sort of the last, the last crew that is still with him and still talking to him. We're not getting a lot of answers from the White House on what they're going to do this week. Trump is going to the border tomorrow. He chose a town called Alamo, Texas, which is, well, not the Alamo, is, risk sending yet another signal to his supporters. He wants to tout his achievements of the first term, including the border wall. So that's what they look to be doing, which is scheduling events that will try to change the channel as the march of impeachment carries forward.
Bloomberg's White House correspondent Josh Wingrove in Washington. Josh, thank you as always for your time and joining us on Quick Take.